So this week's topic is exploring cognitive reserve. What is it and why is it important? So cognitive reserve is the ability of the brain to resist damage and maintain cognitive functioning despite age-related changes or neurological damage. It involves various brain regions that work together, and it is believed that cognitive reserve can be built up through education, mental stimulation, and physical activity. So building cognitive reserve, we'll go into this more in depth in the last part of this webinar, but one of them is understanding the brain. So learn about the different parts of brain and how they come together to work to create that cognitive reserve. Another thing is exercising regularly. You've heard us say this through many of the webinars, but exercise really does help to improve cognitive function and can really contribute to building that cognitive reserve. Engage in social activities. Socializing with friends and family can also help to stimulate the brain and build that cognitive reserve. So by understanding the brain, exercising regularly, and engaging in social activities, you can build your cognitive reserve and overall improve your mental health. So talking about the brain helps a little bit to kind of understand the different areas of the brain and the functions that they perform. So when we look here, we're looking at the hippocampus. This is this kind of ruffled little area here. So the hippocampus is responsible for memory formation and consolidation, which plays a crucial role in learning and retaining information. The prefrontal cortex, which you see right at the front, kind of right behind your forehead here. This is involved in executive functions, such as decision-making, problem solving, and planning. The next slide, temporal lobes. So this is that yellow section right here. The brain has 4 lobes to it, and the temporal lobe is one of them. This is responsible for language processing, comprehension, as well as memory and auditory perception. The next one is this teal green area. This is the parietal lobe. So this is associated with spatial awareness, attention, and sensory integration. And then we get to the frontal lobe here. It's this big red area. This plays a role in higher order cognitive functions, emotional regulation, and social behaviors. So in this slide, we're looking at the basal ganglia. So this is that purple section here. That's protecting the thalamus, which is inside here. So that basal ganglia, it participates in motor control, procedural learning, and habit formation. So then we look at this little green area right here. This is your amygdala. The amygdala is involved in emotional processing and memory, particularly in regards to emotional experiences. Cognitive reserve, as we mentioned, is the brain's ability to resist damage and maintain cognitive functioning in the face of disease or injury. It is believed that cognitive reserve can help protect against dementia and other age-related cognitive decline. It's explained somewhat like a savings, like a bank, a savings reserve of brain. So cognitive reserve is very beneficial for dementia because it acts as a protective mechanism that can delay or mitigate the cognitive decline that is associated with the progression of dementia-related disease, such as Alzheimer's disease. New research suggests that people who develop high cognitive reserve by the time they are 69 years old, they may be able to reduce their likelihood of memory and thinking decline, even with low childhood cognitive abilities. This study was just published in Neurology, which is the medical journal of the American Academy of Neurology. If anyone's interested in reading that study, I can make sure that I send that to you. So what are some components of cognitive reserve? One of them is neuroplasticity. This is the ability of the brain to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. Education, the level of formal education achieved really has an impact on cognitive reserve. Engagement, The amount of mental and physical activity that a person participates in really contributes to adding to that social reserve bank. Social connections. The number of meaningful relationships that a person has contributes to that. So again, cognitive reserve is a concept that describes the ability of the brain to resist decline due to aging or disease. The four main components are the neuroplasticity, education, engagement, and social connections. So again, research has shown that cognitive reserve can help protect against the onset of dementia and to slow its progression. So by having a higher cognitive reserve, it can allow individuals to adapt more effectively to the cognitive decline that comes with dementia. This adaptability enables them to maintain a higher quality of life and functional independence for a longer period of time in comparison to those with a lower cognitive reserve or a lower cognitive bank. So there's some benefits of cognitive reserve. One of them is brain stimulation. So engaging in those mentally stimulating activities can really help build that cognitive reserve. It doesn't need to be anything complex. It could be simple as reading a newspaper, doing a puzzle. You don't have to get out there and be suddenly a chess expert. It's anything that gets the brain working. Another one, as mentioned, is social connections. Those strong social connections can really help to protect against cognitive decline. I've spoken in the past that we realize that not everybody is an extrovert and not everyone is extremely social, but it is having those connections, whether it's waving to the neighbor, whether it's waving to the cashier at the grocery store, it's having that social connection. Another one is adopting healthy habits, such as exercise and a balanced diet. This can also help build your cognitive reserve. You're going to notice that there's some similar concepts involved across all of our presentation topics. And you'll notice that it is a lot of the brain stimulation, social connections, the healthy eating habits, such as exercise and balanced diet. So individuals with a higher cognitive reserve are better equipped to help with the cognitive impairments that do come from a condition like dementia. They can tap into their brain's resilience and find alternative ways to compensate for any defects, thus maintaining their cognitive abilities and overall well-being over an extended period of time. So another benefit to cognitive reserve is increased mental flexibility. So cognitive reserve can help individuals to think more flexibly and adapt to new situations. Another is improved memory. Cognitive reserve can help individuals to remember more information and recall it more quickly. Enhanced problem-solving skills. Cognitive reserve can help individuals to better identify and solve problems. So cognitive reserve has the potential to provide a range of benefits, from increased mental flexibility to improved memory and enhanced problem-solving skills. So there is some research supporting cognitive reserve. One of them is neuroimaging evidence. So neuroimaging studies have shown that cognitive reserve is increased with an increase in brain volume and an increase in neural connectivity. Another one is behavioral evidence. Behavioral studies have demonstrated that cognitive reserve is associated with better performance on cognitive tests. So the relationship between cognitive reserve and age-related cognitive decline. Research has shown that cognitive reserve can help protect against age-related cognitive decline. This resilience may come in factors like a higher level of education, engaging in mentally stimulating activities, or even having a genetically driven advantage. The exact mechanisms behind cognitive reserve are not fully understood at this time, but the consequences of having a higher reserve are evident in better coping abilities and more extended period of functional independence despite the presence of dementia. So cognitive reserve has been demonstrated to have a protective effect in delaying or reducing the cognitive decline with dementia-related diseases such as Alzheimer's disease. Higher cognitive reserve can assist individuals in managing the symptoms of dementia, therefore preserving quality of life and autonomy for an extended period of time. But it is important to note that while cognitive reserve can offer some protection against the impact of dementia, it does not prevent or cure the underlying disease. As dementia progresses, the brain's ability to compensate may eventually be overwhelmed, leading to a more pronounced cognitive decline. So what are the benefits of exploring enhancing cognitive reserve in managing dementia and other cognitive impairments? My slide got cut off, but people who possess a higher cognitive reserve have an advantage when dealing with the cognitive decline that is associated with conditions such as dementia. It's that being able to take it out of that bank, that brain bank that we have. So as mentioned, cognitive reserve suggests that individuals with higher levels of education, intelligence, and engagement in mentally stimulating activities may be able to better cope with the effects of dementia. However, it is important to note that cognitive reserve does not prevent or cure the underlying disease. So what does cognitive reserve and its relationship to dementia look like? So neural compensation, it's a key concept in understanding how cognitive reserve can benefit individuals facing dementia. So individuals with the higher cognitive reserve have more extensive and more interconnected neural networks. When brain cells are damaged due to dementia, these individuals may be able to better compensate for the loss by using alternative pathways or areas, allowing them to maintain cognitive function for a longer time. I look at this as our roadway system. If you know the ulterior paths, because you've researched and you know that point A will go to B to C to D and get you to your outcome. That's like having that stronger neural cognitive reserve. Your brain can figure out the neural pathway that it needs to take a little bit quicker, but it can be done. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to figure out where that detour is and the steps that your brain needs to take to get from point A to B to C to D. So when you look at neural networks and plasticity, so the brain consists of complex neural networks formed by interconnected neurons. These networks are responsible for various cognitive functions such as memory, language, attention, and problem solving. Throughout life, the brain exhibits neuroplasticity, which is its ability to reorganize and adapt by forming new connections between neurons or strengthening existing ones. It's a process that allows the neurons in the brain to compensate for injury and disease and to adjust their activities in response to new situations or to changes in their environment. Cognitive reserve is the ability of the brain to resist damage and maintain cognitive functioning. Cognitive reserve and brain networks. Cognitive reserve refers to the brain's ability to optimize its performance despite age-related changes or brain damage. It arises from a lifetime of engaging in mentally stimulating activities and continuously learning, which enhances the complexity and the efficiency of these neural networks. You are never too young or too old to work on your cognitive reserve. It is never too late. So cognitive reserve is the ability to maintain cognitive functioning in the face of brain pathology or aging related changes in the brain. So with the pathology and brain damage, in the case of dementia, various diseases like Alzheimer's disease can cause progressive damage to brain cells and neural connections. As these brain cells are affected, that's when you'll notice that cognitive decline may occur. Delaying cognitive decline, how rerouting brain function helps. So while cognitive decline is a natural part of aging, The brain's ability to compensate and reroute functions can help delay its manifestation. Participation in activities that require mental effort has been shown to lower the risk of cognitive decline. There's compensation through alternative pathways. So somewhat kind of what I was talking about by taking that road that is a detour. Individuals that have a higher cognitive reserve have built more robust and interconnected neural networks due to their enriched cognitive experiences. When dementia-related brain changes occur, they may be able to compensate for the lost functions by rerouting information through alternate brain pathways or using different brain regions. It can also delay cognitive decline. So the brain's ability to compensate and reroute functions can lead to a delay in the manifestation of cognitive decline. This means that despite the presence of underlying brain pathology, individuals with higher cognitive reserve may continue to perform cognitive tasks at a relatively high level for a more extended period of time. So impact on symptoms, pardon me. Well, cognitive reserve can delay the onset of noticeable symptoms. It does not halt the progression of the underlying disease. Over time, the brain's compensatory mechanisms may become less effective and the symptoms of dementia may become more apparent. So the limitations of cognitive reserve. It is important to note, as I mentioned, that cognitive reserve does not prevent or cure dementia. It does offer some protection, As the disease advances, the brain's compensatory ability may be eventually overwhelmed, resulting in more significant cognitive changes. So cognitive reserve, while it enhances the brain's ability to reorganize and adapt in the face of brain damage caused by dementia-related diseases, this process of neural compensation helps delay the onset of symptoms and maintain cognitive function for a longer time. It's essential to remember, though, that while cognitive reserve is beneficial, it does not provide an ultimate defense against dementia, and more research is needed to fully understand its mechanisms and potential interventions. So by delaying the symptoms, this means that it's referring to the concept that cognitive reserve may allow an individual to maintain normal cognitive abilities despite the presence of brain changes associated with dementia. So cognitive reserve may delay the onset of the noticeable symptoms of dementia. So this means that even if the brain changes that are associated with dementia are present, the individual may still perform cognitive tasks relatively well in the early stages of the disease. So delaying the symptoms may allow an individual to maintain those normal cognitive abilities despite having a dementia diagnosis. So again, it is important to note that delaying symptoms does not represent a cure for dementia or prevent its progression, but it does help having that cognitive reserve in that bank. So in the early stages of dementia, brain changes such as the accumulation of plaques and tangles can occur. These changes typically affect areas of the brain that are involved in memory, thinking, and problem solving. Individuals with a higher cognitive reserve may have built up extra neural connections, increased brain volume, or developed alternative strategies for performing cognitive tasks. These additional resources allow them to continue functioning normally despite the underlying brain changes. So while people with a high cognitive reserve may perform relatively well on cognitive tasks, even in the early stages of dementia, they may still experience mild forgetfulness or occasional difficulties with complex tasks, but their overall cognitive abilities seem to remain intact. This delay in noticeable symptoms can be beneficial as it allows individuals more time to adapt, plan, and make necessary changes to their daily routines or lifestyles. So again, it is important to note that delaying symptoms does not represent a cure for dementia or prevent its progression, because over time, as the underlying brain changes progress, the cognitive reserve may become depleted. So you're withdrawing from that cognitive bank. And noticeable symptoms of dementia will eventually emerge. So by implementing healthy lifestyle choices, engaging in mentally stimulating activities, and maintaining social connections, individuals can potentially enhance their cognitive reserve and potentially delay the onset of noticeable symptoms. So when you look at this chart here, just slowing the progression, so the power that cognitive reserve has. So when you look at the rate of decline, when you have a low cognitive reserve, you're quite high up on that grid there. When you have a higher cognitive reserve, there's quite a big difference there. So as we see, high cognitive reserve can slow down the rate of cognitive decline. So when someone develops dementia, their cognitive abilities decline over time due to the brain structural and functional changes. But again, however, for the individuals with higher cognitive reserve, this decline may happen at a slower rate. So there's some challenges of having a high cognitive reserve. And one of them is masking early signs. So in some cases, cognitive reserve can mask the early signs of dementia, which makes it challenging to detect the disease in its initial stages. And as we know, having an early diagnosis is more beneficial. But by having these masking early signs can make the diagnoses and the interventions very challenging. So because individuals with a higher cognitive reserve can compensate for that cognitive decline more efficiently, it does make it more difficult to detect the disease in its early stages. Since they have built up that cognitive resilience through mental stimulation and education, they may be able to perform daily tasks and maintain cognitive abilities at a level that appears to be normal, even when underlying changes in the brain are already present. As a result for this, family members, friends, or even healthcare professionals may not recognize the subtle signs of dementia in individuals with a high cognitive reserve. These signs may include forgetfulness, mild confusion, or difficulty in multitasking, among many other different types of signs. Again, the diagnosis is as individual as we are individualistic. The individual may compensate for these challenges by relying on existing cognitive abilities, learning new strategies, or using external aids, which is not a bad thing, but it is a bad thing in getting the diagnoses as it masks those early signs. The masking effect can lead to a delayed diagnosis. So as the early symptoms may be dismissed or attributed to normal aging or stress. However, it is essential to detect dementia as early as possible to initiate appropriate interventions, support, and treatment. Regular cognitive assessments, especially for individuals at a higher risk or with a family history of dementia, can be beneficial in identifying potential signs, even when they are not immediately evident due to cognitive reserve. Early detection plans for better management and planning, potentially improving the individual's long-term outcome and quality of life. But this does lead to better coping. So those with higher cognitive reserve may adapt better to the cognitive challenges posed by dementia, enabling them to maintain a higher quality of life and functional independence for longer. So building that cognitive reserve, what does that look like? So as we spoke about before, there's the modifiable risk factors that you can change to help you navigate your dementia diagnoses. So these are just some practical strategies that we're going to share with you that can help boost your brain power by engaging in activities and enhance your brain's capacity to withstand age-related decline and neurological diseases. Here's some strategies. So there's many lifestyle factors that could improve cognitive reserve. So again, it's that physical activity. But when you look at the physical activity on a scale of 1 to 10, my gosh, it's sitting at there at a 7. The next one would be social engagement, which is sitting at a 6. Mental stimulation is sitting at a 5, and healthy diet is sitting at a 4. So as you look, these 4 factors, lifestyle factors, are very important in balancing your cognitive reserve. And it's also beneficial for any disease condition, well-being, to practice these 4 things. So lifelong learning, you want to continuously challenge your brain by learning new skills, taking up new hobbies, reading, or participating in educational courses. By attending a session like this, you are building your cognitive reserve because you are practicing in lifelong learning. You're never too old to learn. Doesn't matter the diagnoses. Even with a dementia diagnoses, you are able to still learn new things and have quality of life. Bringing it back to that physical exercise. So regular physical exercise has been linked to improved brain health. So include aerobic activities and exercises that get your heart rate up. Now you don't need to do a bunch of stairs. You don't need to go for like a marathon run. Just anything that gets your heart rate up from where it normally stands at your resting heart rate. That may be just going for a brisk walk. It may be going for a walk a little bit faster than you're used to, and maybe moving your arms to get that heart rate up. Even something like this when you're sitting during this webinar, pump your ankles, get that blood flowing in your body. You can sit here and do little arm movements. Anything that keeps that body moving is beneficial in building that cognitive reserve. Social engagement. We speak of this quite often because by staying socially active, by interacting with friends, family, and participating in community events can help stimulate your brain and emotional well-being. Now, again, as mentioned, we realize that not everybody is an extrovert or likes large social engagements, and it doesn't need to be anything like that. It may even just be going to the grocery store and having engagement with the cashier, or going to the library, maybe nodding at someone and giving them a smile. It's just being around people. It's having that socialization around us. We did notice that there was a lot of change in people's socialization, especially with the pandemic, because we had to distance and learn new ways of communicating, such as a virtual means such as that. And we did notice that once we started bringing people back into the virtual realm, their social engagement scores were increasing. So that's fantastic. So again, some more tips just to kind of stay socially engaged, because social engagement can improve that cognitive function. You can join a club or you can volunteer in the community, stay connected through social media and video calls, interact with people of different ages, all sorts of ages, and then lean on friends and family for social support. We always talk about asking for help is the hardest thing to do, but you really need to lean on those people to keep your socialization going, and encourage them. You may turn them down 4 times when they invite you to something, but you still want to be included for that 5th time because that may be the time that you are able to go. So it's important to always keep inviting people to join us in our social activities and keep everybody inclusive. All right, mental stimulation is another one. So you want to engage in activities that require a mental effort. Now, like I said earlier, you don't need to suddenly be Bobby Fischer and play like an amazing chess game. But if that's your thing, that's fantastic. But it's just something that requires a little bit of extra mental effort on your part. So such as puzzles, brain teasers, chess, strategy games, Sudoku, Wordle, Hurdle, Quirtle, all these different things out there, Scrabble, word games, words with friends, anything that just makes you think a little bit more than you normally do on a daily basis. So some strategies for engaging in activities that challenge your brain, because these help build that cognitive reserve and maintain cognitive function as we age. So learn a new language, craft or an instrument. This challenges the brain to form those new neural connections and improves cognitive function. I've been trying to learn a new language for years, and I've been trying to figure out how to play my ukulele also for years, but I have not given up yet. Another one is crossword puzzles, Sudoku, or brain training apps. These activities challenge the brain and improve cognitive function. There's so many things out there, especially if you have a smartphone. There's free apps that you can use for games, and you can also socially connect with someone through that game. I think there's one that's Word with Friends, and you can challenge other people and you can challenge your friends. So read books or write in a journal. So these are additional activities that stimulate the brain and improve on cognitive function. Join a club, volunteer, or spend time with friends. So we know that research shows that socializing and connecting with others can also improve cognitive function. And engaging in regular physical activity, because it improves the blood flow to the brain and can really help improve on cognitive function. And another one is to eat healthy. A healthy diet that is balanced, rich in fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats. They provide the essential nutrients to your brain for brain health. You know, and every once in a while, you want to let your health, for me, you want to let yourself have a treat. Maybe you want some ice cream or a small glass of ginger ale or something. And that's okay, because everything in moderation. You don't want to totally deprive yourself and make it painful for you to eat healthily if that's not something that you do. So we talk about making change, and you want it to be in small incremental little steps in order to be successful. So the next one is quality sleep. Oh, look at how comfortable that little one is. So you want to ensure that you get enough restorative sleep each night, as sleep is crucial for memory consolidation and cognitive function. All right. Another thing that you want to do is you want to try and manage the stress that's in your life. We realize that this can be challenging because at times, you're surrounded by stress that you can't get away from. But, there's the eustress, which is the good stress. And then there's the distress that, can impact your quality of life and well-being. So, practice relaxation techniques if you can find the time. So meditation, get some deep breaths. I've had a meditation practice for over 15 years and I'm still not quite there, but I don't give up. Exercise, you want to get moving. Time in nature. Go put your feet in the grass, spend some time out in beautiful nature, listen to the birds and the animals, and get a little bit of relaxation time. Again, sleep well. You want to try and get that good sleep hygiene so that you can recharge yourself. Connect socially. Join a club. Might not be for everyone, but there's also virtual clubs. There's lots of meetup groups. You can find lots of activities on Facebook or Eventbrite, lots of free activities there. Eat well. You want to reduce your caffeine. I'm working on that one. I love my caffeine, but I try to eat well. So again, moderation. I'm eating well. I'm looking at giving up most of my coffee, but I'm not quite there yet. It's those baby steps. And then make lists. You want to try and prioritize your tasks because, life can be overwhelming and we have so much stuff on our plate. So it can be very, very beneficial to make lists to help prioritize your tasks. And it's amazing at how it will melt away stress as you tick off those items on your list because you've achieved something. Another one is avoiding harmful substances. So things like alcohol consumption, avoiding smoking, avoiding illicit drug use, as these can damage your brain health over time. So one thing is to remember in building cognitive reserve is that it's a gradual process. So consistency and long-term commitment to these lifestyle changes are key to maximizing the benefits. Again, as you see in this picture, consistency is key. So how do you maintain your cognitive reserve? So to maintain your cognitive reserve and support long-term brain health, you can continue to practice the strategies that were mentioned earlier for building cognitive reserve. So here's just a reminder of those strategies with a couple of additional tips. So, maintenance summary, what does that look like? Lifelong learning. You want to keep challenging your brain by learning new things, exploring different subjects, or acquiring new skills regularly. Physical exercise. You want to maintain a regular exercise routine that includes aerobic activities, so anything that gets your heart rate going up. Strength training. You could use cans of soup when you're in the kitchen. It's good to build that muscle mass. And flexibility exercises to support brain health. So you want to try and maintain your flexibility. And do some good shoulder stretches. Shrug those shoulders up to your ears and then push them back down. You really want to feel those stretches in your body. Another one is social engagement. So stay socially active by regularly interacting with friends, family, and engaging in group activities or community events. Mental stimulation. So continue or begin to engage in mentally challenging activities such as puzzles, crosswords, Sudoku, or brain training games. Could even involve painting, whatever you enjoy that makes you think a little bit. A healthy diet. So maintain a balanced and nutritious diet with plenty of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats to support brain function. The Canada Food Guide is a wonderful resource, and it's got some great suggestions on there of what a healthy plate looks like. So another one is quality sleep. You want to prioritize getting enough restful sleep each night as it plays a vital role in cognitive function and memory consolidation. Now, I realize that's easier said than done as not everyone sleeps well. And sometimes it does not matter what it is that you do, you just cannot get a good night's sleep. But as long as you are aware of it and you are continually working on your sleep hygiene, then you're in good shape. Another one is stress management. You want to practice stress reduction techniques such as mindfulness, meditation, yoga to manage your stress and to promote brain health. There's a lot of good stress management apps available out there for your computer or for your phone. Jacobson's progressive relaxation is another one, and you can actually do it for yourself. And it's basically relaxing the body from head to toe. I do this when I cannot sleep, and usually before I get from head down to toe, I have fallen asleep. I can also share a script with you for that if you like. So another one is social support. So you want to seek support from others during challenging times, as social support can positively impact cognitive function as well. Stay curious. So you want to embrace curiosity and stay open to learning new things or exploring different perspectives to keep your brain active. You want to manage your chronic conditions. So if you have any chronic health conditions like diabetes, hypertension, then you really want to work with your healthcare provider to manage them effectively, as these also can affect cognitive health. And also avoid harmful habits. Refrain from using excessive alcohol consumption, smoking, or drug use, as they can be detrimental to cognitive function. So you just need to remember that maintaining cognitive reserve is an ongoing process, and consistency is key in adopting these healthy lifestyle habits that is essential for long-term brain health and therefore leading to strong quality of life. All right, I just have a quick little 3-minute YouTube video that kind of condenses everything that I've just said that I would like to share with you. So just gonna share that with you, make sure I've got my settings correct.
The most important investment for your brain health is the reserve that you build for your brain function. This bank account, also known as cognitive reserve, is the most powerful protector from brain diseases such as Alzheimer's. Cognitive reserve is the surplus of connections between neurons that can buffer against losses that can occur in aging and disease. That means that a person with higher cognitive reserve can better cope with aging than a person with lower cognitive reserve. So how do you build cognitive reserve? By choosing mentally engaging activities, putting yourself in stimulating environments, working in complex occupations, or even engaging in complex activities like board games, writing, learning musical instruments, or a new language. These activities profoundly increase neuronal connectivity in the order of thousands of connections between each neuron. So when it comes to brain health, the connections between the neurons is more important than any other factor. And that's in your control.
Thanks for joining me. Bye.